Back at it.
S-D-P. The Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Who's on my mug today? I'm drinking out of the top of Jesse Blake's head today. Available on the SDPN shop.
SDPNshop.ca. Hit that up if you want to get some Christmas gifts.
Hell yeah.
Is it still Blake Friday?
It's not. That was last weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we do I'm Dreaming of a Blake Christmas? Is that right?
I don't think that's a phrase.
I didn't mean it
say.
that way. Can we find a Jesse Blake way to work it into Christmas? No? Jingle Blakes?
What? I'm stunned at how bad that was.
I didn't mean anything by it. I was just saying, can we come up with a good name? I don't know.
Jesse Bells.
Jesse Bells?
That is
The first
Maddie
Blake
says
of
the
Christmas.
first Blake of Christmas.
Or the 12 Blakes of Christmas.
The 12. I don't know.
Isn't the Christmas tree called the Jesse tree?
It should be.
Is it?
I don't know. I
thought it was called a Christmas tree.
Yeah, but like Google the Jesse tree.
The Jesse tree. Okay.
Gosh darn it. I'm pretty sure there's a song.
It's a book.
It's a book.
What are we trying to accomplish?
We're
here?
trying to come up with a snazzy name like Blake Friday. Right?
Yeah,
But
that was
Christmas.
for Black Friday. We don't have like a sale going on or anything.
Can't it just be a theme of the season? You bring joy to people's life? Can't we expand on that?
But then
that's the
what?
season.
And then what?
Dasher and Prancer and Dancer and Blakeson.
Yeah.
And then what?
Well, it's like the underpants gnome. Then profit.
Yeah.
Right? Then profit. Underpants, profit.
Visit the store. Go there.
That's a good start.
Oh, Maddie's back.
It's a good start.
Maddie's Maddie giggle.
back.
Hey.
Maddie's back. There's Maddie's hand.
Maddie.
Maddie,
you go.
put down the thing. Put down the thing. The mic.
Oh, you can you
Turn it.
talk now?
Let's see if it works.
Do we-
Yeah. Try say something.
Hi.
Hey, that works. I don't know what pot you are. There you
He's
go.
got a voice.
No, I can't hear myself, I don't think.
Wow.
Oh,
We can hear
We
you.
can hear
Oh,
you.
sounds great.
We can hear you.
It's
all
crazy.
good.
You sound like you.
All right.
Hi, everybody.
Did you have a good time? Do you want to talk about where you went?
Yeah, sure. Oh my gosh. Guys, I went to Thailand.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a long flight. It was like 21 hours. We had a layover in South Korea, in Seoul. I've never done anything like that before.
Maddie brought me a gift.
Yeah, I brought Jesse back a little something. He had a
What'd you get him?
request.
It's downstairs. I forgot to bring it up.
Oh, no.
You stink.
Downstairs in my office. It is a BTS calendar.
No.
Straight from Korea.
Amazing.
It is from Korea. It is a K-pop calendar.
Is
It's
Jimin
amazing.
front and center for you?
Jimin is on the all of them are on the front.
Jimin's your favorite though.
Jimin is my favorite. J-Hope looks great. They're all there just having a good time.
Yeah, it even like folds up into a stand.
Yeah.
You could just have it on his desk.
If you want
on
to hear
my
something
desk.
funny, we got a promo gift once in like 2019. We were working at Virgin Radio, and they came out with like back in the day, you used to have like Spice Girl dolls and stuff. They had BTS dolls, and Jesse got the whole set and kept them. And we actually
I
you didn't
gave
keep
them all away.
Did you?
Yeah.
What?
They were in his office. They were.
I gave
if
them
you
all
bought
away.
them on eBay, they were like $500 a doll. It was crazy.
We ran an Instagram contest, and I was like, yeah, we can just give them all. Away. They're bigger BTS fans than me.
No, it's
I was
you.
like, they just
Probably
sent out
not.
these like crazy dolls. So yeah,
You have BTS Uno cards.
I do. My girlfriend got them for me for like a gag gift one year.
Hilarious.
Very excited about them.
Yeah, no, Jesse was right on the BTS.
Anyway,
Yeah, so to explain the backstory, we had a running kind of bit on our radio show.
Yeah.
That I was a giant BTS fan.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, now I got to learn a bunch of stuff to fulfill the bit, and now I got to know a whole bunch of stuff about BTS.
He knew like their backgrounds and where they were from and like could tell you stuff about them. Jesse used to do this thing at 9:30. It was called like the quiz or whatever. And he'd always come up with these like, we should make him do it here.
Yeah, we should do a quiz segment here. Quizzes
you
are
do
fun.
an unbelievable quiz. I've never met anybody that can keep it fresh like you can. People were like, we actually used to look at the ratings lines because they would like spike at peak times, and they started to spike when Jesse's quiz came on. It'd be like Ghosted, Jesse's quiz. And
Bell Media plays the hits.
Yeah.
The quiz. It works on
TSN.
Oh, is that the other one?
Yeah.
Oh, I only know
three letter.
Jesse's.
The 3 letter.
Yeah. Oh, the forbidden. No, I can call it TSN.
Yeah.
I want to host a game show one day.
I think you'd.
I think I'd be a fun game show host.
Why don't we do that on Twitch? Can we do a game
we
show
do that.
on Twitch?
Yeah, we could do that.
Why not?
Yeah, we got ideas.
Maybe while you're there, you can smash that like button. Actually, Steve did this the other day. We were talking about it this morning. We never do this because we just never have. But have you considered subscribing?
Yeah, like okay. Years and years ago, I've told the story before, but it bears repeating because there's always new listeners. A friend of mine, Matt, who's like a legitimate fan of our show. Like, I don't need to tell him what we did that day. Like, we play hockey together. I don't need to tell him. He knows.
Okay.
We have a lot of similar interests and everything. And years ago, he was like, "Hey, so like, do you do like a call to action? Like, do you tell people to click like on your videos and click subscribe?" And I go, "Well, no, because I don't want to be one of those annoying YouTubers, man." I thought I was being like cool about it, but really all I was being was bad at my job. Because the second I was like, "Hey, at the end of this video, why not click subscribe?" And then,
Yeah,
like it just doesn't occur to people. So if you're watching this right now and you watch regularly and you would like to subscribe, I think you should. I think that's the thing you should do.
I know we hammer the YouTube channel a lot, but half of our audience is also listening. Like,
yes,
a large portion of the audience is also listening. And one thing we never tell people to do is rate the podcast, because that makes you shoot up the Apple podcast charts and save it on Spotify. So if you're on Spotify, they have a little 5. You can rate it from 1 to 5, and if you hit 5, that'll really help us. And on Apple, it's star rating. So if you hit 5 stars, that'll really help us. And if you leave a comment too, you can game the system because comments are worth more. So if you leave a comment, just say "I love the show," we'll jump up the charts.
Apple it's so funny because I have felt good about the Apple charts before, and if you get up high on the Apple charts, you should. But so little of what the Apple charts are in podcasting is really based on listenership.
Oh,
it has nothing to do with how many people listen to your show, and everything to do with how many people are interacting with the Apple app.
Yeah.
And also, we were the #1 rated show
in Canada
in 2013.
Yes,
and that wasn't because we were the #1 show. It's just the algorithm is like, "Hey, here's a new show that got a bunch of their likes went up 100,000% because they were at 0. So they're #1, man."
Yeah.
Spotify's what they've tried to do is create charts that are more listenership based, but there are other things that are into the algorithm there as well. But Apple's is like the voodoo doll where you just really don't know what's happening.
It's goofy. Justin, come on in. Justin's got something for Jesse.
Oh,
thank you.
This is what Maddie brought Jesse.
Incredible.
Justin, thank you.
So yeah, if anyone was curious to see what the BTS calendar looks like.
Very sexy. It's a bit glossy.
Yeah, it is glossy. But there's all of the boys on all of the different months, and on the other side there are the full shots. So
now I remember the day that they announced that they were going to take a break, and the stock for the company that produces them went down like 70%.
Yeah.
And then they're like, actually, they're coming back. I was like, all right, well, I guess they drive listenership. It's a crazy thing. So when it comes to that sort of stuff, if you can subscribe, especially on YouTube too. YouTube helps us with Steve was sort of explaining it to me, but if you like something on YouTube, you have to teach YouTube what you like.
You have to tell the algorithm what you like.
Otherwise, you're going to be bombarded with Jordan Peterson videos.
Well, like, okay, if you don't tell your algorithm what you like, so if you don't subscribe to anything, if you don't click like on anything, the algorithm just goes, all right, well, you're this age, you're this gender, and you're from this city, so here's a bunch of garbage that you don't like. And you go, what the fuck? I don't like this. But then you like go to click not interested, and then you accidentally click it, and it's like, oh, he's lapping this shit up. And then no, you have to tell your algorithm what you like. And if you like us, but you're not, listen, maybe you only like us, you don't love us, and that's fine. Click like. You don't click love. Clicking love is clicking subscribe. If you only like us, if we're, it's complicated, just click like. It helps. It all helps.
Now, yesterday, Steve wanted you to know that, or he wanted us to know, and he would like you to know that he's not upset. He's not salty.
Never.
He's not angry.
Nope.
And it isn't because the Leafs didn't get a regulation.
Are you moving off of?
I am. Should I not?
No, because we're at 96,000 subscribers.
Oh yeah, burying the lead.
Let's
suppose we're trying to push for
let's not
100,000.
completely forget about why we're talking about this. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers because we want the little play button. We want that little plaque.
Well,
right?
I want it so bad so I can cover up all the stupid dings that put in the wall.
Steve Kutz keeps chipping the paint on the back of the wall. It's not great.
I looked like Dusty, so I licked my thumb and I just went and like peeled a bunch of the paint off the wall.
Awful. Anyways, so we need 4,000 more subscribers, less actually, because we're at 96 something, and we're gonna have a big celebration when we hit 100. That'd be great if we can hit 100, and we'll get that play button.
Wouldn't it be great if it was our final episode before Christmas?
It's
a lot to ask.
That'd be great.
It's a lot to ask. I don't know if we can get there, but I would really like it.
And beyond the plaque, like beyond it, like I'm all for trophies. That's really nice, but it's more about it's actually about the business end of things.
It actually helps.
It helps us expand the business.
No, winning the Stanley Cup is about the profits and the ticket sales. No, it's about the trophy.
Well, we're trying to.
It's not about the gate revenue,
help
Adam.
you better content.
All right,
if we
Scrooge
can until we get
McDuck.
100,000. That's what it is.
All right, Mr. Profits. I'm about the Stanley Cup,
Yeah,
not about the gate revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the players
Adam's
that win the
just
cup.
building a team for playoff dates.
You know, it's too bad they don't give the players that win a cup a bonus.
They play for free during the playoffs.
No, they make a bonus for every round that they win.
No, but you don't make your salary during the playoffs.
No, but you make a bonus every time you win.
Sure.
So
But you're playing it for free. And if you lose, you don't get any money.
I think you get money for losing. I believe the Stanley Cup. Hang on, Stanley Cup.
Like if you lose in the first round, you played those games for free.
I'm gonna see that. Hang on. First round. Okay, so
What do you guys want to talk about?
you ready?
Yeah.
Here's how they get paid in the playoffs. All right. Hang on.
Did you Google this or text Alan?
No, I'm actually Googling it.
Okay.
Yeah.
President's Trophy winner team gets 500,000.
Wow.
First round losers get $2 million. That's $250,000 per team. Second round losers get $2,500,000 to 4 teams. Conference finals losers get $2.5 million, which is $1.25 million to each of the 2 teams. Finalists $2.25. Stanley Cup champion $3.75 million split between the players.
Wow.
So it's significant.
Only players?
A player, it is up to the individual teams how they want to divvy up the dollars. Players that don't play it as many games may not get the full share.
Like Black Ace.
Well, regulars who play all the organization's postseason games may get an equal amount or something like that. Or if somebody's injured and they were a part of the team, but they didn't play in the playoffs, but they were injured and they played 70 games. So they get to decide, but yes.
Hot damn.
But you don't make your salary.
You don't make your salary.
That's still true.
But I'm saying, even when you lose, you win.
But like,
If you want more great content like this, you should consider clicking like and subscribe.
Yes.
my whole point was I'm in it for the trophies.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Stanley Cups. That's
I want
not the
$75 million
bonuses.
bonus would be
Okay,
nice.
there's bonuses.
Yes.
I'm not in it for the bonus.
Jesse,
know,
good guy.
Mr. Gate Revenue, Adam Wild.
These guys don't know what it's like to have a play button.
Yeah.
You know?
Steve has one.
I've had one for a
You
while.
got another chip this year.
What year did
Don't
you get
bring
it?
any.
It was during the Matthews era. I know that. So like not that long ago, 2017, 18,
Okay.
something like
That's
that.
pretty significant.
5
though.
years ago.
Yep. And well, and now I'm at 220.
Wow.
So-
is there one at the
A
next
million.
one's at $1 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
It's 100 and then a million
A gold
and
one.
then is it 10? 10 million? There's a special one?
John Boy has this setup in their studios. It's the gold plaque surrounded by 4 or 5 silver ones.
That's
And,
amazing.
like, you ever see those posts on Reddit? Like, what's a really niche flex in your area of work? I just saw that and I'm like, oh my God.
yeah.
Oh my God, you're gods. You're sports YouTube gods. How the hell?
What does Mr. Beast have?
He probably has like a stake in YouTube.
He should. He's driving them. I mean, really.
That
His rev split's got to be better than ours.
yeah, I spent $30 million on this video, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So there's just tears to
Yes,
this.
100%. Does he do advertising in his videos?
I don't
Yep.
know.
He does. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. You know what I hate is when he gives back. I hate it.
I-
I can't stand it, and I think he should stop.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I don't know why my "They Should Have Stayed Blind" video got downvoted so hard. I don't get that. That was such a weird day on the internet.
Yeah. It really was.
really odd.
Yeah. Hey, here's a bunch of people who can see now. No.
It was like if somebody came out and was like, I was upset that Grubauer was wearing a purple mask yesterday.
Oh,
You know, like, that's awful.
that's breaking the rules.
Those are the same people who are like, I'm upset those people aren't blind anymore.
or those people don't have
Excuse me?
shoes. And like people got on about the shoes. They were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, the shoes were they ethically sourced shoes?" And he's like, "Actually, they were." And they're like, "Whatever, fuck you." And I was like,
Those people don't deserve shoes.
This guy seems like a genuinely good person. I don't understand what the problem is.
I subscribe to the awesome coffee company. That's Hank Green and oh my god, I forget his brother's
Yeah.
coffee company, and someone asked them, like grilled them with all these questions, and they made this big long video about here's how the beans are sourced, here's how this, here's how that, here's how that, and I supported them.
Good.
Yeah, but maybe I should just stop drinking coffee altogether.
You should,
and that would be better.
It would be.
You should make people blind.
Listen, if you don't,
You know what?
Start a YouTube channel and make people blind.
if he doesn't, then what will Mr. Beast do on his channel? Right? He'll run out of people to cure.
He just his follow-up video is he gathers all those people back in a room and then gets all the wrestlers whose finishing move involves spitting something in people's mouths.
No, stop it.
He brings out
I was
Tajiri.
just hoping you'd get like a laser pointer or something, not spit.
No, Jesse, it's got to be terrible.
There's
And your
easier
breath
ways
has gotta
for
be
you to
bad.
The
make
dinosaur
video.
from Jurassic Park.
Okay.
What?
There's easier ways for you to make the videos on your channel.
No.
Which is now you making people blind. That's your new channel.
Subscribe.
Yeah, to SDPN for more hot takes.
Yeah, well, okay, so that was, sorry, last thing.
We're never getting
I
that.
went,
Whatever.
I went, hey, everyone, subscribe to SDPN. And everyone said, subscribe to Steve Dangle, you got it. And I went, no, that's,
SDPN.
like, I got this huge spike in subscribers. And I'm like, no, subscribe to SDPN.
Yeah. Also, 5-star us on Apple and Spotify.
Yeah,
That's-
and when you see Steve, 5-star him on the back. He loves a big. He loves a back slap.
Should I
Hey.
tell that story?
Oh well, somebody was super drunk at one of our events and slapped your back. Yeah,
Yeah, so, like, sometimes, like, we've been at events where people get really handsy and stuff like that.
We had one that was free booze, which we didn't know, and we never would have signed up for. We had no idea. We walked in there like, we're like,
It was a
what?
bad
What do you mean it's
idea.
free booze.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was possible.
And at the end of the night, everyone was feeling real good. And I bent down to either pick something up or tie my shoe. And there were a few people like, they get, pat you on the back and then like sort of tussle you on the shoulder. This guy just went whack, like 5-star, right between my shoulder blades. And like, I actually had to pause and I'm like, do I fight a fan?
Yeah, because there's like an instinct that comes out from like when we
He
were,
hit me really hard.
Yeah,
He hit
it wasn't
me
good.
really hard.
It just wasn't good.
Yeah, no, it wasn't great.
And did he remember a thing the next morning? Absolutely
Probably not. No, instead I think I shook his hand, probably hugged him 5 or 6 times on the way out the door, and then left.
There you go. That's the way to handle it like a man.
Yeah.
Suck it up and not talk about it until 5 years later.
Yeah. So angry about it. Oh yeah, and then don't tell a therapist. Tell your podcast. That's being a man.
Yeah. And take it out on Leo.
Yeah. Hey, kid. I see you enjoying that show innocently. How about you stop?
Yeah. Pick up these power tools and watch me get mad at this household product.
You can't hold a flashlight right.
No, Leo's the one into tools. He's gonna
is
be
he?
yelling at me. Dad, you're holding the flashlight wrong.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
Your generation's useless. And I'm going to be like, I know. I'm getting it from both ends, the elders and the youngers.
You can't see this on camera. Maybe go to the wide shot, Maddie. Can we see how much coffee Steve has spilled on his shirt? He's been shaking it. All on the side of the mug. Like, do you see it? You've been shaking that coffee.
Oh my God, I'm that Cecily Strong character. Oh, go ahead and laugh at me, Jesse. I know what I'm talking about. All right.
Steve.
What? What's the matter?
Get game day ready with BetMGM, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Oh!
Which Jesse will be all over this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it wasn't good for me on Thursday when the Cowboys whooped the Seahawks. But that's besides the point.
Did you put some heavy odds against the Cowboys to mess it
Yeah,
up?
because they hadn't beaten anybody this year. I'm like, Cowboys are frauds, and they beat the Seahawks.
Oh, okay.
Jesse, I just want to point out in fantasy, I am currently leading you 79.36 to 0.
Yeah, because Metcalf and Dak Prescott went off, and you have them both on your fantasy team. It's been a brutal football week for me.
BetMGM gives you the chance to take those highlight reel NFL NFL plays to a whole new level, especially with Steve. Bet with Steve. BetMGM has something for every football fan, especially Steve's. Take your shot at the gridiron greatness with BetMGM. Download the app today and find out why BetMGM is not only the official sportsbook partner of the NFL in Canada, but they're also the king of sportsbooks. BetMGM.com for terms and conditions, and check out BetMGM.com/dangle. Must be 19 years of age or older to wager. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you have any questions or concerns about your gambling or someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with iGaming Ontario.
Nailed it!
Wow! So we mentioned Blake Friday, our big sale at SDPN's shop, right?
Yeah, that was last weekend.
That was last week, but where was it hosted, Jesse?
On our shop on sdpnshop.ca.
Which is made possible by
Shopify!
Thank you. That's what we're trying to get to. Listen, if you are a Shopify person like we are, you know how easy it is already. But when we started podcasting and we started building our website, Jesse went to Shopify because...
It's so easy. You guys, secret, like just between you and me, I'm not very smart, but I was able to navigate the Shopify interface to build a whole little shop for our merch.
Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. and Canada, and Shopify's global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size, and SDPN across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's extensive help resources are there to support you if you're not that smart and you still want to appear that way anyway by starting an online store.
Make your Blake Friday every Blake day.
That's right. Every Blake and day. With Shopify, go to shopify.com/SDP, all lowercase. Again, shopify.com/SDP now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/SDP.
All right, Leafs Kraken.
So, no.
Oh,
I was about to set this topic up and was rudely interrupted because I didn't finish the last
Wait, I have another story from 6 years ago.
I didn't finish that we were trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, so please subscribe. And we have data that actually says that 40% of the people that listen in and out, like come in and out, have not subscribed yet. So I would really love that. Steve's not mad. Steve wasn't mad. He's never been mad. Especially
never
after it was announced yesterday that the Vancouver Canucks acquired Nikita Zadorov for a 5th rounder in 2024 and a 3rd rounder in 2026. The 2024 5th rounder is the pick acquired in the Anthony Beauvillier trade. And this was the best trade we have seen the Vancouver Canucks make since the last one, which was Philip Hronek, which was also good.
What was the Anthony Beauvillier trade?
They traded him to Chicago.
Oh, they traded a player making over $4 million who only has 8 points for a draft pick and didn't have to retain anything?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So Steve is not upset about it.
I'll bring that back in a minute.
He's not upset about it. It did come out later. Kevin Weeks reported that the Leafs were obviously interested. We knew that. CJ's been talking about that. But the Leafs thing was they want Tanev and Zadorov, and they needed the Calgary Flames to retain. Yep. And the Calgary Flames said, what if we didn't? Because the Calgary Flames have enough iffy money on their books that they really don't need to do that. But to be honest, though, like with the Flames, if you could have retained, this is the year to retain because both of these guys are done at the end of this year.
But it was a big deal for the Flames to get rid of the money without having to do any retention because that brings them out of LTIR. And that's so now they can start accruing cap space. Cap Friendly did a very cool thread on it. So yeah, so it's not always good to be in LTIR, but now that they're out of it, they can start accruing cap space for the deadline. So they needed to get rid of that money, and they didn't want to like deal with Toronto. And all that
and you might be like, well, they're well out of a playoff spot. Why would they need cap space? Well, you can always take on bad money at the deadline.
You always need cap space because it's the NHL.
You can take on bad money for even more assets. So it's the best of both worlds.
Now, Flames fans are upset about the return that they got for Zadorov. They could have waited. They probably could have got more.
They're right, by the way.
Yeah, they probably are.
Zadorov's 6'5", like 220. There's no chance he doesn't go for at least a 2nd round pick.
A good comp was Luke Shen, who went for a 3rd.
Even Shen is,
he's not as good as Zadorov, is he?
It depends.
Depends on the aspect.
Shen's career arc is really strange. Last year he tied his career high in points.
It's crazy.
It's really weird, right?
Yeah.
And you go and look at his career arc, and it was up with the Leafs, and then leveled off, and then tank, minors.
Yep.
And then Quinn Hughes' D partner. Overnight. Like, it was really strange. Zadorov, heading into the deadline, I mean, he's bigger than Schenn. He's probably faster than Schenn.
Younger.
He's younger than Schenn. I would happily assume he'd get a second at the deadline.
So it's like I bring up that comp because I think it's reasonable. Like it's in the ballpark. Yeah. He was only making $850 at the time when the Leafs acquired him for the third.
Yeah, that's a huge factor.
That's a huge difference. And plus there's the fifth. So
Yes.
the fifth is kind of the extra intangibles. So like initially I'm like, that's so cheap. And I feel like he could have waited and he could have got more, which I still do believe. Like, I feel like you could have maybe finessed it from like a third and a fifth to just a second, or something else. But it's a lot more in the ballpark than we think.
We always think, and this is me contradicting myself immediately, whenever teams have all these assets to sell off, we always think they're going to get the sun and the moon, and it doesn't work out that way. And you might be like, well, why didn't Craig Conroy wait? Well, because he's only one person, and he's got his staff. But like, it's not you have 5 blackberries in front of you like the video game.
Yes.
It's Zadorov is out of the way, so now you can do Tanev, or now you can do who else? Hannafin. Now you can do whatever other business the Flames have in mind. So you get this done well before the holiday break, before you even have to consider like World Juniors. I don't know if the Flames have any players who are going to be eligible for that. And then you can make a trade in January, maybe. You can do one in February. The deadline is not until March 8th, I believe. So that's the argument in favor of it.
He also got worked a little. Dan Milstein worked him like a fiddle. He played him.
Dude,
it was he came out with a public trade request.
Yep, 100%.
And then they said, okay, we need everybody. There was that team meeting they had where it's like everybody needs to keep this in the house and we can't be doing that kind of stuff. And then everything kind of died down a little, but apparently behind the scenes things weren't really dying down, and Zadorov wanted out still and was pretty open about it. So he got worked by an agent doing this publicly, and him having to force his hand to make this trade now.
And to just drive that point home even more, you can give Patrick Allvin credit for getting a good price, or getting a good player for a good price, I should say. Dan Milstein is the assistant GM of the Vancouver Canucks. Not literally, but he's got 5 players on their books, I believe. I checked on Puckpedia last night.
Signed a good money, too.
Yeah, I mean, you probably shouldn't count Kravtsov on account of he's not there anymore. But they have 2 minor leaguers, I believe. They have Mikheyev. Kuzmenko. Dude. Like some big name players there. Man.
I think if this is a more tenured general manager, I think if this is somebody like Steve Yzerman, I think if this is Doug Armstrong, I think even like Julian Breezewa, Dan Milstein probably doesn't work him like this.
Well, they probably tell him to fuck off.
And they say if Zadorov wants out, fuck him. I mean, he's sitting here until I get the price I want. But it seemed like he pushed his hand. He kept pushing behind the scenes, and he had to make this deal.
The only thing I would say there is, like, this isn't Danny Briere in Philly, who has done a great job, I think. But, like, he was GM of an ECHL team. Craig Conroy was hired by Brad Treliving to be his AGM 9 years ago. So, like, AGMs make a lot of these trades. So, like, I don't think he's unfamiliar with the process. I just think he genuinely thinks this was the right way to go.
I think if he had more time, he would have taken it. I think with anybody, when you have decision making, I think there's more time, and there's a difference between sitting in the AGM seat and sitting in the GM seat.
What would be, guys? And I don't actually have the answer to this. What would be I know you sort of mentioned it. What would be the point of doing it now and not waiting for your price? Is that because you can listen? I guess accruing cap space is one thing, so you can take that money.
Coming out of LTIR was important to them.
Okay, that was important.
That was a legitimate.
So then that's the answer. That's the answer. What am I even asking? That's the answer. It has to be. Because I looked at the Canucks account when that showed up on my Twitter yesterday, and I sent it through to their CJ Show group chat, and I was the first one on it, which is rare for me. I had to make sure it was actually the Canucks account because it's verified, but they don't have the corporate verified. They have the blue check mark, which is. So the yellow check mark is the corporate verified, but the Canucks are like, no, we're not spending $1,000 a month. So they have the blue check mark.
Might be more than that. Dude, it's a crazy amount.
It's a crazy amount of money, but like the Leafs have it and some of the other teams do.
Yeah.
Vancouver is like, nah, no way. So I was like, I'm getting Mr. Booth right now. That's what I thought.
Oh, me too.
I was like, this is a parody. There's no way. Because I thought, man, what a spectacular trade for Vancouver. Really great fit. I know Canucks fans were really upset at me about Quinn Hughes and about me calling out the fact that of the 15 games they've won, 12 of them have been against non-playoff teams. Sorry. But at the end of the day, that makes them so much better. The Philip Roenick deal, which we were all like, you gave up a first-round pick? Are you nuts? He's been a spectacular fit. Maybe it's time to start having a little bit of faith in, at very least, Vancouver Canucks management, because they seem to be figuring it out after a pretty disastrous first year behind the scenes.
They're on a heater, and also like a lot of things are going well.
The PDO's through the roof.
PDO's, well, but like also Quinn Hughes is like a cornerstone of that franchise.
Sure.
Not the cornerstone, but a cornerstone, because they have Pettersson too. And prior to Hronek, his best D partner in his career was Luke Schenn.
Yeah.
And like, I love Luke, but like, dude,
Bit of a change.
yeah, like that's great to have a stay-at-home guy and you can let him fly, but like, what's wrong with having two really good defensemen on your top pair?
Yeah.
It's really tied the room together, and now you improve the depth as well. You have a fantastic goalie in Thatcher Demko. Like, as long as you just make his life easier, you're going to score goals. And maybe there was extra incentive for the Canucks to do this because they know they're riding the wave a little bit, just a little bit. Like, Brock Besser is almost at his season total in goals from last year. Why not plug the holes before you start taking on water?
Yeah.
It sounds like they're in on Ethan Bear as well.
Why not?
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
So that happened before the game, and Steve was definitely not upset about it. He was really upset.
Well, I was mad about it because of the way it was talked about.
Why?
Well,
What was
because
it?
What way
the
was it
Leafs needed retention. Because they need retention on everything always, because they spend to the absolute cap. Then there's a little bit of shenaniganery on top of that. And then there's even more LTIR shenaniganery on top of that. That's not really shenaniganery, but it's a little bit of shenaniganery. Right?
Yeah.
Right? And every year, like they don't want to spend the assets. Like I saw a few people say, you have to. Well, are you going to go into the playoffs with Max Domi, who has fewer goals than Tristian Jarry, as your third line center?
He's played well, by the way.
He has played well.
Take a hit piece out on Max Domi.
No, I'm not.
Good.
But like, that's not your third line center when the playoffs begin. Stop. Last year you had Ryan O'Reilly. You still only got 5 wins, and it's going to be better. Fuck off. Like, not a chance, right? So every year you got to commit to maximizing your cap as much as you fucking can leading up to the deadline, and make a trade on the exact day that you need to, and probably pay a premium because the other team has to retain half, or you got to get a third team involved. Like someone made a joke. They're like, oh yeah, the picture of spending their cap space well, the Vancouver Canucks.
100%. But
And like, dude, they've like
this year.
Why can't we go on recent memory, dude?
Yeah.
Like, I think Beauvillier in a higher role in Chicago can do well, but the fact of the matter is he was making $4.15, I believe, $1 million against the cap, and had 8 points in a depth role. The Canucks got rid of him without retaining salary for an asset that they then flipped for Zadorov. That's crazy.
It's a tidy piece of work.
That is a tidy fucking piece of work. So, that move is out there for them. They're doing a better job at this right now. Mm-hmm. Like, historically, no, they're a terrible cap team, but they are doing a better job at managing their cap right now than the Leafs.
So I think that this maybe this doesn't happen if the Leafs have a decision on John Klingberg. Because what we're waiting on right now is but the reason that we're waiting on it is because they spent to the cap. So I'm acknowledging that point. Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
Because it's not bullshit.
But I think
he's trying to play.
John Klingberg is trying to play. December 12th is the earliest comeback date, and the Leafs have left the decision with him about what he wants to do. And so what the issue becomes is the Leafs can't make a trade until he makes a decision. Because you got to go in LTIR. They don't have a choice. They got the Muzzin deal. They got the Klingberg deal. They got Liljegren on LTIR. They're probably going to put Gio's $800,000 on LTIR because he's going to be gone for 6 weeks with a broken finger. Like you do have room, but you need to have a little bit more clarity before you can make.
But the problem was, it's like the Sens issue about how we got to the point where they couldn't sign their guys, and we're like, well, the problem you made was the problem you made yourself earlier when you signed all the guys and you got up to the cap limit, and then you had no money left. The Leafs are in this situation because of all the contracts they signed years ago.
Yes, that would be the Kubalik trade and the Tarasenko signing, and I believe Vlad Tarasenko has 3 goals in 17 games. 13 points, but
okay. Yeah, they've been way below expectations, but that rocky start to the season, early in the season, was like so unexpected.
Yeah.
It was every day there was bad Sens news. That can't be good for morale and playing well.
No, I think you're able to stomach like Kubalik and Tarasenko if everything around them didn't go poorly first.
Yeah.
And can I just read the tweet from Cap Friendly about the Calgary Flames LTIR situation that I was referencing earlier? So they tweeted out, "This is a perfect example of why you never want to use LTIR unless you have to. Flames are stuck in LTI mode despite no longer needing it from a cap space perspective. They are now therefore accruing less cap space than they would be if Rooney and Shillington were on regular IR, and can now only exit it when both are healthy." So what this kind of illustrates here is, yeah, it's really weird. So Shillington and Rooney are on LTIR, but you can't move a player from LTIR back to IR. You can only go the other way. So the Flames, they made the room with the Zadorov trade, and they no longer need all of that LTIR space, but they can't get back into the regular IR space until those guys are healthy because they're stuck on LTIR. So they made the room, but they got to wait for these bodies to get healthy to finally start accruing the cap space they should be. And this is why the NHL sucks, because this is an explanation that's really convoluted and something fans have to think about when you're thinking about your favorite teams because of how convoluted the salary cap is.
I know. Who came up with this bullshit? Oh, wait a sec. He works for the Leafs.
Brendan Pridham.
Yeah. Anyway, so if that made any sense to you, congratulations.
It didn't to me, but I appreciate the effort.
I'm trying.
Yeah, no, I do. Now, the Leafs did take on the Seattle Kraken last night, and for most of the game, the Leafs were in the driver's seat. I was sometimes Frank Corrado and I just shoot messages back and forth, so I text him like, "They're in the driver's seat finally," and he's like, "Yeah." and then I get a text message from him in the third period. He's like, "Well, that didn't last." and again, it goes back to the fact that I feel like it's got to be an exhausting way to play. I know that it's after the game. I think Jake McCabe said, "Listen, it's a hard league." Fair enough.
He's played great.
Yeah, he's been great.
He's been really good.
That's the Jake McCabe we were sold, right?
100%.
I to a point, I agree with him. Seattle's not had a great year.
No.
I do feel like they could have just stomped him, and they came close a couple times. There was a Marner. I thought Marner was going to get a 4th goal last night.
Yeah.
5th.
Yeah.
He was incredible.
Talk about like
Bubble Mitch.
Knock, knock. Mitch answering the bell.
Yeah.
Like holy shit.
Kidding.
Dude stepped up after everybody complained about him for a week, including us.
You know what I thought?
He was playing bad, and then he played good.
You know what I thought was interesting?
That's how it works.
With him was the first goal, it felt like a relief for him.
Yes.
By the third goal, he was back to his confident swagger.
It was so cool to see.
Yes.
The bubble gave him special powers. That's what I'm going to say.
He can never take it off.
No.
I always wonder why people choose the glass over the cage, because the glass, every player that I ever knew that wore a see-through thing, it would fog up.
So I would love to know the weight difference.
Do you think that matters?
Oh, of course. Well, because it's probably...
He played with a cage all the way to the NHL. You know that.
Yeah.
He jumped from junior to the NHL. He played with a cage.
And then he hasn't done it for like 7-8 years or whatever. Like, I know it's probably a matter of ounces.
Yep.
The weight difference, but it's your like face and neck and everything. Like, this isn't a little bit of extra weight in your shoulder pads or something. Like, every little bit matters. There's a reason why I would expect most wingers to win a race against a goalie.
Yeah.
Like, every little bit of weight matters, and like, you're turning your head so much and you're looking down. I do wonder about that. And also just the visibility is probably way better.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess. But again,
Dude, it was pissing me off in the LFR yesterday because I was wearing a cage and I kept losing fucking eye contact with the camera. I was probably out of focus half the time because I couldn't fucking see.
Oh, that's the reason why you were out of focus.
Yeah. Hey, I've been a good boy. I've been a good boy about that.
Okay. All right.
I've been I've been a good boy.
Do you know it's illegal to wear a full bubble or cage in the NHL unless you have an injury?
I didn't know that.
Like you can't, like the bubble
Fuck
that
the
Mitch
safety,
is
bro.
wearing, you're not allowed to wear that unless you have like an exemption.
It's
Well, because
probably
you smash
dangerous.
into someone's face who doesn't have a bubble and you break their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably
It's just like it's weird that you have a rule that prevents you from keeping yourself more safe.
yeah. Well, it's also like remember Mark Bell when he was a Leaf?
Yes.
And he rocked the shit out of Daniel Alfredson right before the playoffs.
No.
Oh well,
I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember that hit.
dude,
Oh,
it's a crazy hit.
Why not, Jesse?
Dude, it's like a legendary hit.
Legendary hit. Mark Bell.
Mark Bell on
crazy
Daniel
dude.
A
Alfredson.
lot of people know
Crazy
that
junior
hit.
career with the
I'm
67.
sure there are, but I don't.
He doesn't.
Okay,
And I'm
well,
sure
anyway,
there's-
so he rocked the dog shit.
What you're
out of-
telling us is Mark Bell rocked Daniel Alfredson.
Yes, and then everyone wanted to fight him and beat the shit out of him, but he was wearing a cage, and they couldn't.
They couldn't.
So maybe you're not allowed to wear a cage because they need to be able to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
true.
It's a weird league.
I remember growing up too that anybody wearing a visor, Don Cherry was making fun of them. It was like, oh, how could you how dare you? And then
See
Brian
that video
Berard
going
basically
around?
lost an eye, and everybody was like, we should look into this.
You see that video going around of Nylander? The Leafs could have got Nick Ritchie and
That.
look at Nylander. He's run back to Sweden. I don't even think he called him Nylander. I don't.
Yeah, he's just this soft Swede or something
Yeah,
like
it's-
that. Yeah,
he's-
it's almost like he was at a date.
It's almost like just assuming every person not from Canada is a wuss is faulty.
Yes. Well,
Just a bit.
So the Leafs, they go up 3-1. Mitch Marner on the strength of Mitch Marner, and it's been interesting the last couple of games how important one player has become because it is such a team game. Noah Gregor against Florida, Mitch Marner against Seattle. I got to tell you, the one thing about overtime, and again, teams do this really well. I don't fault Seattle for doing this.
I do.
They are ragging the puck, and they are back pass, and keeping it away from the Leafs. That's all you got to do to get to the shootout is keep it away from the Leafs because the Leafs used to be garbage in the shootout.
Fans are so smart. Did you notice yesterday the second they lost the faceoff, people started booing?
Yes.
Because they know what's coming. The
Yeah.
next 90 seconds is going to be unwatchable nonsense.
And
then it was.
It was 3:35, I think, before the Leafs got possession. That's a minute 30 in.
Before the first shot attempt.
100%. And
The first thing worth getting out of your seat for happened with like a minute left.
the other thing that the Leafs do in overtime that drives me bonkers is they love to concede the offensive zone. They'll go in, they'll get set up. I don't like this. I'm gonna swing back.
Yeah, because
Because they're like, don't
changing-
force the play, and it's like, well, you're not making a play though.
No, I don't hate it.
They
because
concede it more than anybody.
probably, Adam, but like they get burned so much.
That's because they're out of position.
I know.
Other teams can hold the offensive zone and be in position.
Yeah, but you got to know
can't
your
walk and chew
weaknesses.
gum.
You gotta know your weaknesses though. Also, that is such a dad term.
I am a dad.
I've
but
done
I'm a
that
dad.
so many times.
I-
I
one
walk
thing-
into it's easy.
One thing you got to look at is the results, and they've been very good in overtime in the shootout.
But that's bad.
What do you mean?
Well, they're not winning in regulation. They're not
did-
winning exactly the way I want them to.
Did you celebrate?
So
And
that's
if
bad.
so, fuck you.
I sure didn't.
2 points is 2 points.
No,
Like, it's a regular
not.
season. Those are the rules we've all agreed on before we start the
They
game.
have as many wins as Seattle, Jesse, in regulation.
Oh.
So that's what matters.
No, I think the results speak for themselves, in that the Leafs don't have a lot of wins in regulation, but they've been piling them up in 3-on-3 on the shootout.
By the rules, that's actually not true. You know how we keep saying the Leafs have 5 regulation wins? It's not true. They have 8. Because overtime wins count as regulation wins.
Oh, do they?
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. Go check the standings.
No, see, you're looking at ROW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that stand for?
Regulation overtime wins, but there's also RW.
Yeah, but as far as the standings go,
No.
No,
ROW is the tiebreaker.
No, I'm pretty sure just RW is the tiebreaker. Regulation wins.
Why do they even bother showing
Or do
ROW?
we go ROW and then RW?
I think
and
that's
then-
what it is.
So it's
See why this
weird, but
sport's so hard to get into?
but also, but when people are talking about the Leafs stat, like they're talking about regulation wins.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
I know that.
So
I don't think you know that.
yeah.
No, I knew that. And they have 4 in North America.
So
That's my stat.
The point,
you have to credit me.
The point with that is I know that there are people that are like, well, there are no shootouts in the playoffs. How are they going to win? Guys, if we're comparing...
hold on. Steve's talking about the standings. Regulation wins is the next category.
But ROW is there.
Is the next one after. So I'm pretty sure it's regulation. I can just Google it. But
Fuck off.
Yeah, you're
the
wrong.
Senators have more regulation wins than the
You're wrong
Hilarious.
about the standings.
Stupid goddamn league.
But I want to throw this out there.
Who's in last? Oh, it's not them.
It's
Montreal
Canadiens.
has...
Ah!
Yeah.
They're not even the worst Canadian team. Lol.
But, like, who cares? You can win games anyway. And then there's ROW, where the Leafs are down there. They got
Still
8.
pretty far back.
Yeah. Anyways, Adam, sorry. I interrupted.
Well, that's okay. No. So what I was going to say is people are like, well, listen, the reason that we care is that there are no shootouts in overtime in the playoffs, to which I say there isn't 3-on-3 either.
Mm-hmm.
And are the rules called the same in the playoffs as the regular season?
Hey,
they're not.
You know what else?
So I don't
the
know what
playoffs-
we're comparing here. Like, do we think this is a direct comparable? Because I know that it's not. Do you know that it's not?
You know what else the playoffs don't have is last place teams. And you can be last place in January and still make the playoffs.
Yes.
So
We've
like
seen it.
that's
Win the
when
cup.
that's when I'm going to start paying attention. So like way too often, again, there's 82 games. That's so many games. And too often we get caught up in like I think you can look at too big of a sample size.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is what this team did all year. No. What have you been doing since there was snow on the ground? You know what I mean? What have you been doing since the new year began?
For the rest of my life, I'm going to go back to the 2023 Florida Panthers. They were the hottest team alive, and they rode that to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep.
They were the 8th seed.
Yep.
They knocked off the greatest regular season team of all time of the Boston Bruins, and they rode it all the way to the playoffs with a hot goaltender and some great offensive play.
They beat them 3 straight.
Insane. They were down.
It shouldn't have happened.
It shouldn't happen.
They
But,
almost lost. Weren't they losing at the end of that game 7 and then they tied it?
And then they tied it, and then they forced overtime, and then they won it in overtime.
Dude, I know it usually works out for Boston. They have had some gruesome playoff losses in recent memory. Where if it weren't for the Leafs, we would put a lot more emphasis on that.
Yeah. So, your point about the sample size is really important because you can look at November wins, you look at how they're playing, and you say, it's not the greatest playoff hockey. Like, we're not looking at this team looking at like a Stanley Cup champion here, but there's time to fix it. And when you want to be going is February, March, April, and heading into the playoffs is when you need to be playing playoff hockey. So there's so much time here to get this thing going.
We look for, in every month and every week, we look for themes, right? Narratives, whatever you want to call them. And I think people took that and ran with it without really thinking about it. Because to your point, A, small sample size, B, it's November. Who remembers November and April? Nobody. I can't remember what happened last November. I have no fucking clue.
Flyers won like 10 straight in November one year and missed the playoffs.
There you go. So you have to, if you want a legitimate criticism, the way that the Leafs play team defense down low is painful right now. And I want to say, I think Simon Benoit has been much better than I ever thought he could be.
Lagesson.
Lagesson,
It's not lack
right?
of size back there either. It's a pretty decently big group.
Yep.
Benoit, Lagesson, Timmins is pretty big.
I don't
McCabe.
think, like, in years past, by the way, Will Lagesson, first active Toronto Maple Leaf ever to be on SDPN is with Agent Provocateur. The episode is out right now, and he's a really cool guy. Great story, too. Like,
Check it out.
how he made it to the NHL is whack. But there's no other way to describe it. He like bing, 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 bing. Like, I don't know how he did
he
it.
was in at least 4 or 5 organizations?
Yes, and college and USHL and. But when it comes to the Leafs defense, in past years, like I'm thinking about when the Leafs had a really thin defense core and Jake Gardiner would play probably 5 minutes too many each night, and by the end of the night, he was making decisions that would make your head shake. Yes. But we knew Jake was a good defenseman. We just knew that he was also going to yard sale you once every couple games. With the Leafs this year, I don't pick out one player who I'm like, oh my God. There is no like whipping boy. To me, there's a system problem here. And
Is there a star problem? Like, like Mitch got going. Great.
I'm talking team defense, just team defense.
Yeah, but like so much of this team, offense and defense, runs through Austin, and he's not playing well. And Mitch, but like, Okay, neither of them are playing well over a period of time. Mitch had a hat trick last game. I don't even remember Matthews' last goal. It might have been in Sweden.
It was minimum 8 games ago. It was something like that.
But no, not 8. But it was a long time.
For Adam's point, like I don't know if Austin getting going helps TJ Brody protect the front of the net better.
No. Yeah, he's really the only like undersized player back there right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you...
Sorry, Austin's last goal was 5 games ago, November 19th.
Yeah, man. That's not great.
All right.
And I the only reason I bring it up is because if we are going to judge about what is going to make a playoff team, I don't care about it's not really about when they win the game. It's about when things go wrong. And when things go wrong, they're down low, they get pressured, and they cannot get it out.
I think this fan base in general is looking at the Leafs pretty level-headedly.
I agree. I don't think there's been no mass panic, but there has been legitimate criticism.
Like Bertuzzi's killing it right now. Mm-hmm. That Kevin Papetti stat, I think it was over the last 8 or 9 games, the Leafs are outscoring their competition 8-2 at 5-on-5 in his minutes.
Nice.
They're winning the expected goals for every night.
Yep.
With him by like a wide margin. There was only one game in the 50s. That third line is not scoring very much, and they're winning their minutes.
The Leafs have won all of Simon Benoit's games in expected goals for during his 8 games.
That's crazy. Wait, during his minutes or just the team?
During his minutes. So
that's crazy.
So for instance, like last night he was at 65.5%. Simon Benoit.
Everyone told me this guy sucks so much, and I'm not gonna lie. During the preseason, I was like, he doesn't look very good. Mm-hmm. But he was also hurt, and he was trying to make this team. It's a 24-year-old who played over 70 games last year on the worst team.
With Klingberg.
With Klingberg. I thought Benoit might have been the one holding Klingberg back. I mean, I think Klingberg's hip was holding them both back. I think Klingberg's hip was holding them both back.
Yeah.
But, like, dude, who would have thought? Put him in a different system on a better team. Like, I don't think he's incredible either, but like I'm actively watching him going, all right, what's the new guy going to do? Well, he's still the new guy, and he's good.
He's also not somebody that like Sheldon Keefe's going to dress and play 4 minutes like Max Lajoie. Like, you know what I mean? Like they feel comfortable enough putting him out there. They're clearly letting Connor Timmins find his game, and you got to give him 5 to 10 games to really find it.
I know his numbers are pretty good. Holy shit, does he look lost on some plays?
Sometimes, yeah, but that'll be timing.
I get it. I agree.
The guy had a pretty nasty injury.
Yes,
and he's also missed 2 months. So I think all that said, that is I tie that back in to say this. I get Steve's frustration, and if you were frustrated too as a Leaf fan watching that Zadorov trade happen, because you know that A, their defense core is depleted, and B, a guy like that where, like people look at it from other defensive systems like, well, Zadorov's not that good. On the Leafs, he would make a legitimate difference, especially right now. He would be a top 4 guy on the Leafs as soon as he stepped in, and then with a healthy lineup, he's in your top 6 every night, and he's reliable enough.
Or even just having McCabe on one line and Zadorov on another, and just 2 guys who can kill you any given shift.
Yeah.
Or put them out together and have them simply kill you.
Yeah.
Well,
Tanev would be good for that too. If they're making a bigger swing.
Tanev wouldn't be, I don't know how they would set that up. That's just like, would it be Riley, Tanev, Brody, McCabe, which they did last year?
Tanev, McCabe would be kind of nasty.
Well, yeah, because just Brody McCabe was so spotty in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's lots to be happy about. I think this fan base is being really realistic about the process. How friggin' good was Joseph Woll?
Oh, that overtime.
That's the next thing.
He was unreal. And like you talk about the Leafs fan base not panicking stuff. I feel like there was a teetering on panic in the Chicago game if they end up losing that. And then if 2 bounces go different ways, like if they lose Chicago and Seattle and those points don't exist.
How about 3 bounces from Willie in one play?
Yeah.
That was one of the craziest non-goals I've ever seen.
Yeah. So like I feel like they were trying to panic, but it's not panic time.
I mean, listen, there are things that I think would have a greater microscope on them if they weren't 6-1-1 in their last 8.
Yep.
Like, dude, it's really difficult to ignore that they're climbing up the standings every
You gotta take a step back sometimes and realize they're winning games, not the way you want them to win games, but they're winning games, which is the first thing you need to do.
They're
so
top
that's
10.
good.
They're top 10 in the league.
I think they're 9th in league standings.
Yeah, that's what Keefe said. Like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll take that.
You want it's not in terms of like we're fighting for a playoff spot or anything like that. So it's all good.
You should look at it that way, but like,
I mean, like they're not struggling to the point of where they're fighting, you know,
which is what 1920 was all about. Like, I loved Keefe's attitude. He's like, well, look where we are. I mean, these are my words, not his, but we're probably winning games we shouldn't, and we're not even playing our best hockey yet.
Yep.
So there's faith in the group. I think part of their early record was that I don't understand Kampf on the third line. I didn't understand it, and like seeing how good it's working out now, like just emphasizes that point. It's like, what were you doing?
And not trying to play Reeves every day. Like we've gotten to a good rotation with Reeves.
Well, like playing McMahon against Seattle, who's probably not going to fight you, like probably not going to play that kind of game. Yeah, good idea. You know, Boston. I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, Reeves didn't do anything last time, so I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
If he plays 40
but things
games,
are going well.
Yeah. Nobody cares.
Right.
I mean,
Right? It's 40 games.
Right.
That guy's and I doubt he sees a lot of ice in the playoffs.
Yeah, but
it'll be a story when he gets in for one game.
Hey, that's 108 Stanley Cup playoff games.
Agreed.
Reeves.
Agreed. I'm just saying, I don't think that they're like, he needs to drive play. No. We need him on that fourth line or we fail. And also, I want to say that Noah Gregor and David Kampf seem to have their shit sorted. And so when Bobby McMahon does step in, or when Ryan Reeves does step in, the line still pretty effective.
I'm such a dork. Like, I get excited every time Gregor steps on the ice.
I like him.
Because I love watching a player do zoomies.
Austin Matthews registered his 564th career point. That's 313 goals and 251 assists because he's selfish.
Yeah.
He's
I
got
did
more
not
goals
expect that.
than assists. With an assist on Marner's first period goal, it moved him past who for sole possession of 9th place on the Maple Leafs all-time points list?
Wendell Clark.
That's a good guess.
Good guess.
It's not correct.
Dave Keon.
Same era. Not even. Bob Pulford.
Bob Pulford.
Bob Pulford.
The most disrespected Leaf probably ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner are 8 and 9 on the Leafs all-time scoring list already.
That's so dumb.
And they are the only ones even within 200 games of the next closest guy. What I'm saying by that is the guys that are ahead of them, one of them played 981, one of them 844, another 1,000, another 1,000, another 1,100, another 1,000, and then the guy ahead of them, Frank Mahovlich, has 720. So these guys have, Mitch Marner has played 528, Matthews has played 502.
In terms of points per game, they've got to be like
outrageous.
The best.
Yeah. PPG.
Points per game?
Yeah.
Also power play goals.
Oh, that's power play
Not
goals.
confusing.
Yeah, I don't know what the points per game here is, but I just want to say. No, because I can't. Quant Hockey has it, but I don't know. Oh, goals per game, points per game. There it is. Haha. All right, points per game.
You getting emotional about it?
Austin Matthews is second. Mitchell Marner is third. Who is first?
Zach Hyman. No,
And this is like top 50 Leaf scorers of all time.
Ahead of them?
In points per game.
How many games do they play?
Is it something stupid? Like, is it Nick Robertson?
No, this player played 400 games.
Okay. I thought it was like, oh, they only played
I'm
like
talking
5
about-
games.
No, this is the top 25 scores.
Gilmore.
Gilmore.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah.
he had 127 fucking points.
He had a 1.150 points per game. Matthews is a 1.25 and Marner is a 1.093.
Whoa, hey.
Which like his contract.
Well, just now he can't pass it.
No, he simply
He can't
must
dip
stay.
either.
Do you have who leads them all time in points per game, no minimum amount of games? Like, do we have somebody who's 1 for 1 as a Leaf?
Jeff
I'm
Farkas.
sure we do.
Or like 2 for 1?
But I don't.
Per game?
It does. It
you
says
quantify it like
this is minimum at least 20 career games played for the league.
Can you take off the minimum?
Point per
looking.
game player. Igor Korshkov.
Oh,
He
really?
played 1 game, had a goal, never played again.
There you go. That he would be. Is there anybody who scored 2 points in 1 game?
Oh, I'm sure there have.
and that was their only game as a Leaf.
This is Okay, so I don't think Quant Hockey is going to let me do it because I'm trying.
You stink.
That's okay. That's okay. It's a
But
stupid question.
there's some
No,
good
it's
names
not.
on here. Tavares is up there with a .982. Lorne Carr. Who's Lorne Carr? Well, he's a guy who played.
Oh.
He was born in 1910. Lorne Carr.
Wow.
Yeah, never
Played
heard
with
of Lorne
Half
Carr.
Day.
Yeah, I've never heard. He must have played in the 30s.
Babe die?
He was born within the life of the first Red Dead Redemption.
That's right. Doug Gilmore, Matthews, Marner, Wilf Paymont
Wait.
is up there in points per game. Daryl Sittler, Eddie Olchuk, Sil Apps, Matt Sundin, Rick Five, and Charlie Connick.
Were they good buddies with Newsy Lalonde?
Probably. They were
What
probably
about-
on Newsy's team.
Odie and Sprague Cleghorn.
Are they both? Are there two Cleghorns?
There's two Cleghorns.
Yeah, Odie and Sprague.
Odie and Sprague.
Yeah.
Wow. They're not up there.
They are real people.
Yeah.
Newsy Lalonde is a great name.
Hilarious.
I love Newsy Lalonde's one of the greatest people ever.
Yeah.
If I knew nothing about hockey and I was like, who is the best Montreal Canadian ever? And you went Jean Beliveau, I'd be like, damn right. That makes sense.
Number 17 on the Leafs all time in points per game. This player played one season with the Leafs. He had a .909, led them in scoring in the one season that he played for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he played in the post-lockout era.
Post-lock, like 0405 lockout.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I don't know.
You're going to know this guy.
Oh, I know I'm going to know him, but
He had a bonkers season on a really not great team.
he had a bonkers. Is it Phil Kessel?
It is Jason Allison.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm actually really surprised.
Yeah, Jason Allison had 60 points in 66 games, most of those coming on the power play, if I remember correctly. But he was all assists, and then he got into a fight the game before he was supposed to get $1 million bonus and didn't get it.
Broke his hand.
That sucks. That just sucks.
How don't you, as a friend, pull him aside and be like,
Just
are you stupid?
yeah, don't do it. Let me do it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know.
It's your job to just fill your gloves full of bubble gum so that you can't take them off.
Hey, this show is sponsored in part by BetterHelp. So, listen, if you want to feel better, potentially get some help.
Sorry, you
BetterHelp.
made it sound like that was going to be it.
No. Should I just go back to the hockey now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Because, Adam, sometimes you got to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. And the great thing about BetterHelp is that you're matched with somebody very quickly. Usually by the time most people admit. Can I tell this story?
No.
There was a time when I was a younger man.
You were married. Yeah.
Yeah, several times actually. There was a time when I was a younger man, and a friend of mine reached out and said, "Not doing so hot." And it took me months to convince this person that therapy was not only an option, but it wasn't failure. Right? A lot of people equate therapy with "I failed at life," which is not what it is at all. That's like going to the gym and going, I failed at life. It doesn't make any sense at all. Sometimes you just need a disinterested party to toss things against. And the great thing about BetterHelp is you can sign up. We've got options for video chats. You got options for phone calls. You got options for text message. Whatever it is you're comfortable with, BetterHelp is the place to go. And if you go to BetterHelp.com/STP today, you get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/STP. We have a goalie goal yesterday, Tristian Jarry.
Yeah.
Who now has, I think, more goals than Josh Anderson.
If you're a goaltender, go for it.
But we do, from the Montreal perspective, have a extension. Sam Montembeault signed an extension this morning. Have you guys seen this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
3-year extension with the Habs, carrying a $3.15 million contract. He will be 30, I believe, when this contract is due. A lot of people are like, yikes. But why do you like it?
Because he's a good goalie on a not very good team. And remember I sort of said a few weeks ago when Montembeault was creeping up in Oilers rumors, I was like, well, this is great for Kent Hughes because now he has leverage over all parties involved. Hey, I'm going to trade you to the Oilers, kid. And like, I know you want to be A, not there, and B, here. Right?
Yeah.
And I think he probably got him at a pretty sweet deal. He could have maybe got a ransom for him from the Oilers. That's a really nice deal.
So here's where Kent Hughes goes from checkers to chess. There is no trade restriction on the contract throughout any of the years.
Brilliant. Dude, he's a great GM. He's a great D-build GM. We'll see how he does on the build part. I would file this under build, right? So the Habs have bottomed out. They're not going to go down anymore.
Hard to from last place.
Yes, indeed. We'll see how he is at the next phase, but the first phase of the Habs rebuild, he's been brilliant.
And it seems like they've got the trio they have there figured out now. Now it's about moving Jake Allen because you're gonna hang on to Caden Primo because of the RFA status when his contract expires in 2 years, and now you locked up Montembeault. So Jake Allen's kind of the odd man out, and you can move that contract.
And paying Montembeault 3.15 doesn't prevent you from going out and getting a better goalie. You absolutely could. Like if a big goalie free agent became available and they wanted them, they could.
And Montreal's like ready to win or something like that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but they're not. Right. So like he's the perfect guy at the perfect contract length to get them through this window.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
He's making tandem goalie money, and by the end of his deal, it'll be like teetering on backup goalie money, pretty much. There's plenty of teams with backup goalies more expensive than this.
Oh yeah. No, it's a tidy piece of work. Yeah.
Tidy.
Now, I wanted to know what you guys thought of the Tristian Jarry goal. What'd you think?
Hell yeah. Dude, it's a goalie goal. It's the best. Like, I love the bench reaction of the Penguins because how many of those guys have played over 1,000 games, hundreds and hundreds of games, and through junior, international, and professional hockey, they've probably never been on the bench or on the ice for their own goalie scoring a goal.
Right.
So, like, seeing Crosby like an actual child for that goal, that was cool, man.
I think the goalie goal marked the end of the Tampa Bay Lightning because if Jon Cooper was a good coach, he would never allow that to happen to this championship-winning team.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
No, I saw after the game, like in the post game, he was fucking pissed. He was laying into the Lightning players about their performance against the Penguins. I just thought it was hilarious because Jon Cooper is always very bombastic.
He's a good quote.
Oh yeah,
every time. And you know, him and Paul Maurice both great quotes. When they come through Toronto, they save their best. They always make headlines, both of them, whenever they're here. Or whenever they're playing the Leafs. It's amazing. And it's well played on their part. Jon Cooper used to be, I think, very, very good at sort of dismantling the Leafs' confidence, especially in that first playoff round that they played together 2 years ago. You know, he would take a great win and go, well, and then he'd come up with something that feels real.
They're incredible.
You can tell he's a good lawyer.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's incredible at like coming to town and they'll be like, John, you know, you guys won 4-3 tonight. Your defense really had them locked down. What did you see out there? Oh, well, you know, that's a team with nothing to be afraid of, and all their shoes fit great. And you'd be like, what the fuck? And then, like, you know, for the next few weeks, they're like fiddling with the heel of the, I don't know if my shoes fit great. And also,
just gets in your head, right?
Also, what do you mean there's nothing to be afraid of? And you start looking over your shoulder more, and you wake up in the middle of the night, you know, thinking of that John Arbuckle looking dude saying you have nothing to be afraid of. He's a mind ninja.
Yeah.
Jon Cooper.
But it is interesting to hear from our perspective when he does lay into his players publicly because he's never done it against the Leafs.
He picks a spot like once a season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think? I just feel like with Tampa, first off, I'm dying for another Florida series, an all Florida series.
Tampa versus the Panthers?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Dying for it because I feel like the Panthers want to prove that they're the kings in Florida now,
well,
and I wonder if the Lightning would let them. I don't think so.
You might get it because Boston hasn't been completely wrecking shop the way they were. Like Florida could easily pass them. Tampa gets a wild card. It could happen.
If the Leafs get a wild card and don't have to play somebody from their division.
Oh, either way, like if the Leafs get a 2 or 3 spot in the Atlantic, it's almost guaranteed they're going to be playing a team that they have previously lost to.
Yeah, well,
the Bruins, the Panthers, and the Lightning.
Yeah,
the Lightning are the only one of them they've beaten.
So if they were to take so far, guys, if you had to play somebody at the top of the Metro, which has been stronger than we thought, especially the Caps, who are you taking? The Midtro, as we used to call them. It's not good. Like, do you want to play Carolina?
Their goaltending.
So what's
bad.
are we taking to play the Leafs? Or what are we?
Yeah, we're like say the Leafs are a wild card team.
Okay.
And whoever finishes first in the mid-tro, even though they're not that mid.
Yeah, you gotta stop calling them that.
Who would you take?
Weirdly, I think I'd take. Okay, Pittsburgh for the story.
Oh, it'll be a good story.
Dubas versus Treliving.
Yeah.
Dubas versus Shanahan, really. But also, like, that's kind of an old team that you could bust up a little bit. But
they're
also
currently
has
in seventh.
crazy playoff performance.
They're currently in 7th out of 8. I expect that to improve, but so I think most people would take the 7th out of 8 teams
This
in a
year, there's
division.
been a lot of really shitty predictions.
Jesse,
Yeah,
who would you take?
the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Well, okay, a team that could actually challenge for the.
You know
top.
what? He's right.
What do you mean?
Like, okay, let's say it's the top 3: Rangers, Canes, Caps. Who do you take?
The Capitals.
Interesting.
Rangers, Canes, Caps.
Yeah.
No, I'm scared. I think I'm more scared of the other. Not that Capitals aren't a good team, but I'm more scared of the Rangers and Carolina.
The Rangers look like they're just going to run away with it now. It's like, okay, we're good now.
Yeah. The one thing
Figured it
about
out.
Carolina, like they let the Islanders do it to them last night in the most Islanders way. I'll look it up, but I want to say the Islanders beat them with 5 goals on 16 shots. Like Kochekov did not have a great game, but
brutal.
Like if you're Carolina, I don't care what happens. You can't be losing games when you hold your. It was shots against for Kochekov was 16. And he allowed 5 goals. Like, you can't have that. Varlamov made 39 saves.
Oh, here, wait. I need to trash someone. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, 6 goals against, 14 saves. Thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing, you jerk. Minus 320 in my fantasy. Thanks for nothing.
Fantasy goaltending is always bad.
Yeah.
No, well, there was one
You
year where it was good and I
overdrafted.
couldn't score.
Yeah, and then
This year I was like, I'm going to ignore it. And he played a gem of a game earlier this week. And I'm like, fuck yeah, Uka. And then, like, he was a minus 320. That's one of the worst scores I've ever seen.
Yeah. But
Percy Kemper played a good game and just fuck me, I guess.
if I'm Rod Brindamore, like, I can't allow my team to outshoot an opponent 43-16 and you lose a game. Like, that's it. And you lose a game because the other team scored 5. That's insane. You got there's issues there.
That's so weird because, like, that's kind of happened out of nowhere. Like, who's their goalie coach even? And do you fire them?
I mean, it's a question.
Like,
I don't have the answers on that, but
Like-
yeah, it's egregious.
like, I don't know who it is, but also, do you fire them?
Yeah.
Dude,
Kochekov
it's
is-
been really bad, right?
Kochekov is coming off of a good game on Monday, and then he gets another start, and it's awful. You know, so it's they have a situation there in Carolina that they need to get straight. But like with the Leafs, there aren't like the issues aren't big issues because you're sitting second in a division. You've been winning games. You find a way. It's just these little things where you come away with a point when you should have definitely had 2.
It's Paul Schoenfelder. Do we all have strong opinions on Paul Schoenfelder?
I have no opinion.
I got none. Did you guys want to hear the Jon Cooper post game? Are you interested in that?
Yeah, what the hell?
Okay,
He's always entertaining.
Yeah, he was calling them out because he goes into he'll say it in this, but he goes like, "Are we gonna have the same speech 8 times this year?"
Oh, I
so
like
it's
that.
it's a good Jon
Oh, I
Cooper.
like. I'm in.
Jon
Call
Cooper
me.
quote.
Count
Here
me
we
in
go.
anytime.
It's a lot, playing most of the game that you've liked the way you've played, and then a few minutes that, really kind of stung you guys. What's it going to take to kind of stop that kind of thing that you're kind of continuing to say?
Yeah, it's tough because the guys care. We, as you said, like it's. I went in the locker room and basically asked the guys. Probably given the speech 8 times this year, and I asked them what the speech was, and they knew exactly what it was. And so, if it was a structure thing or a work ethic thing or something like that, we just at times in the game we make crazy poor decisions, and And every time we make it, it ends up in the back of the net. Like, listen, we got the best goalie in the league on our team. But, if you're going to give Sidney Crosby a breakaway, and if you're going to give Malkin a untracked 2-on-1, and then you're going to have up another 3-on-2. I mean, I think those are the only 3 odd man rushes they had all night, and they scored on all 3 of them. So there's no recipe for that. It comes now within the room. Are you gonna, would you make those decisions in a playoff game, or are you making them in game 24? And at some point, I think that point's hit us now. We're gonna have to treat every game like a playoff game.
It's so great because it's double-ended.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's because here I'll say what I think he's doing, and then you tell me what you think he's doing.
Go off.
I think he's protecting his goalie, who's not up to snuff yet because he was injured for the first 2 months of the season. And that's a game where you could easily look at the shots and go, well, you had 41, Penguins had 29. You didn't have the better goalie. And the other goalie scored as well. So it's going to be an even bigger topic, right? So he's protecting his goalie, who he knows is the best goalie in the world when he's playing up to his usual standard, while also challenging the rest of his team. It's really good. He's so good.
It's fantastic. I love the beginning and the end of it, like you were saying, because he's telling his guys, 8 times this year I've come in this locker room and I've give you the we can't be playing like that speech, and what's coming, and it's enough. We got to start treating these games as important. I get it's the beginning of the season and we're all kind of lackadaisical in some plays and we're letting these 2-on-1s, but enough is enough. And Jon Cooper says it in the most methodical way. He doesn't come out and say enough is enough. He goes on this meandering little story for a minute and a half there where he tells his team, get your shit together.
And what are playoff games? They're faster. They're more physical. They're more dialed in. And when you put that out into the universe, the team that you're playing is going to rise to it. They're going to come in. Whoever Tampa plays next is going to know they're playing a especially pissed off team. And they're going to try to match them. And here's the thing. I don't really think they're going to be able to do it, because Tampa's pretty good at this whole playoff game shit.
Yeah. It's an interesting question if you're Jon Cooper and you go up to Nikita Kucherov, Victor Hedman, Steven Stamkos, and Braden Point and everybody in their locker room, and you ask them, is this a game 29 attitude effort you got out there, or is this your playoff effort? Because I know you know what it takes to play in the playoffs, but in game 29 I'm seeing this other effort. Is this you now? Have you fallen off to the point that you're giving me your playoff effort right now and you're falling, so I should be concerned? Or are you just going to turn it on when we get to the playoffs? That's what he's kind of asking though.
I was sort of reminded of this last night when the Leafs played the Kraken, and you see Yanni Gourde out there and you're like, oh yeah, you were a nightmare. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You were a total
He was a part of
nightmare.
that line.
But do you remember what the Lightning had written on their rings when they won the second one? Last day of school. And part of me wonders if, in retrospect, maybe they shouldn't have done that. Because I know you're closing the chapter on that specific group of guys. You lost that entire third line. Who is it? Gaudreau, Coleman, Gourde, McDonough as well. A little bit later. So yeah, you're closing the group on that group, or you're closing the book on that group of guys. But are you also closing the book on the expectations? Are you by etching that into metal, are you acknowledging that going forward, we're not going to be able to replicate how good this team was? And I know they followed it up by going to the fucking Stanley Cup final. I know they did, but there's still something about etching that in that doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
It obviously didn't affect them very much the next year. Then you never in a million years that I think the Lightning would be the team to finally blow it to the Leafs.
Yeah.
All I'm saying.
Yeah. Sergachev didn't like it.
And I'm 100% sure that Jon Cooper hasn't forgotten that series. And he knows what kind of effort he got out of the same guys who are in the locker, because roster has so little turnover from the core, but the outside pieces obviously change. And maybe Patrick Maroon was the biggest loss they ever had. Because his streak of Stanley Cups.
Patty too.
He was the lucky charm.
Well,
but
the Wild are going to the finals this year.
Well, key ingredient, they fired their coach.
Yes. Yeah.
But Jon Cooper on that Leafs loss, he knows what effort they gave in that series and how close it was, but how they came up short. And he must look at this game against the Penguins where they had every chance to win and they don't pull it out. And he says, I don't know if this is what I'm going to get in the playoffs.
The Lightning shouldn't even have their logo in the locker room. It should be 2 photos. It should be Tavares celebrating, scoring the OT winner in Game 6. And it should be the Avalanche winning, I can't remember which game it was at the Stanley Cup final, with 7 guys on the ice.
6. Oh, you mean the one? Oh, not the one.
No, the one where they were like, what the? There were 7 guys on the ice.
Yeah.
Cooper's pushing all the buttons. But now that he's pushed these buttons, if they don't improve, we'll know they're not as good. So he's kind of putting all his chips on the table here. Might be challenging his GM.
It's an interesting team to watch. The Lightning will always be fascinating.
They also usually make a really effective deadline move for a player that will last with them forever. Tanner Jeannot, I'm still not sold on. But
no, I think we can pretty confidently say that wasn't.
It was maybe a swing and a miss, but
at the time I was like, I could see. Nope.
They will also be a team that I think comes up in trade rumors here pretty soon. Right?
Maybe.
Stamkos still needs a contract.
In another city. I mean, that's what they're making it seem like. I'm not the one that didn't call him this summer.
Why?
I would have gladly called you, Steven. I'd have been like, what's up? Let's get a beer. Well, don't take me golfing, though. I'm terrible.
You know what? It's important. It's an important part of a coach getting their message across runs through the captain. And we know you have an unsatisfied captain right now. I'm just saying this might be a part of the problem.
Interesting. All right, well, we'll see how it goes.
Leaf? Steven Stamkos?
Yo, Stamkos Tavares? Let's go.
All right. Oakville boy, right, Steven?
I go back.
No, where's he from?
Markham.
Markham.
Mm-hmm. I go back to The Simpsons, and what would I pay him with? Banana bread?
Steve, what if 5 players... There's a core 5 now.
Core 5?
And they all make over $20 million.
I hope John Tavares
a year
likes playing with Kyle Clifford and Alex Steves.
Yep. What if they fill out they play the Marlies with the core 5?
And you don't have an ECHL affiliate?
No. Mm-hmm. They all make 14.5.
Yeah, all the growlers are up with the players who you forgot existed.
How much screaming would you do then?
Probably a lot, man. Because they'd win 20 games.
They'd have a lethal power play, though.
Yeah.
If you could ever get to a power play, it'd be lethal. Everybody would have a fucking booming shot. Like Mitch Marner's shot last night. It was crazy.
They don't score on the power play, and fans just go, out of their seat.
They just start booing at 5-on-5.
No, they just leave. Why waste their energy? Just beat the traffic.
Draw a penalty, and they can't because they're too slow because they can't draw a penalty. By the way, the Leafs are a little faster this year, which is good. We need that.
Yeah, it's Noah Gregor.
For sure.
And Ryan Reed.
Fastest man on earth.
So let's wrap it up there. But guys, lots of fun. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. Toronto Maple Leafs playing again. And really, that's who it's all about. This isn't just an NHL podcast. It's a Leafs podcast.
Yeah.
And hit that subscribe button.
Hit the subscribe button.
Go watch Agent Provocateur.
Hit the subscribe button and listen to Agent Provocateur. And hit the subscribe button so that you can watch Agent Provocateur by hitting the subscribe button.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.